April 18, 1942, 03:08 hours, USS Hornet, somewhere in the Pacific Ocean, 650 miles from Japan. Lieutenant Richard Cole woke to the sound that every sailor fears. Battle stations, general quarters. The alarm was screaming through the carrier like a wounded animal. His first thought was simple and terrifying. The Japanese have found us. He rolled out of his bunk, heart hammering. His hands were shaking. He grabbed his flight jacket and ran toward the ladder. Other men were doing the same thing. Nobody was talking. Everyone knew what battle stations meant. Enemy contact, torpedoes, death. Cole reached the flight deck. The cold hit him like a fist. The Pacific wind was gusting at 30 miles per hour. Salt spray was blasting across the deck. The carrier was pitching in 15-foot swells. It was still dark. The sun would not rise for another 2 hours. 16 B-25 bombers were chained to the deck, their wings rocking with each wave. Crew members were gathering near their aircraft, confused, scared. Then Cole saw Lieutenant Colonel James Doolittle standing near aircraft number 1. Doolittle was not panicking. He was not running. He was just standing there, staring at the ocean. That was worse than panic. That meant something had gone catastrophically wrong. Cole walked over. "Sir, what happened? Are we under attack?" Doolittle turned to face him. His expression was blank. No emotion, no fear, just calculation. "Japanese patrol boat spotted us 42 miles out. Radioed our position to Tokyo. Admiral Halsey ordered immediate launch." Cole felt his stomach drop. Immediate launch. That meant now. That meant in the dark. That meant 850 miles from Tokyo instead of 450 miles. He did the math in his head. 400 extra miles outbound. That was 800 extra miles total mission distance. The B-25 bombers had a maximum range of 2,400 miles under perfect conditions. This mission was now 2,350 miles. That left a fuel margin of 50 miles. 50 miles was nothing. One miscalculation, one navigation error, one unexpected headwind. They would run out of fuel before reaching the Chinese airfields. They would have to bail out at night over Japanese-controlled territory. Cole looked at Doolittle. "Sir, half of us are not going to make it to China with this fuel load." Doolittle did not blink. "I know." "What do we tell the crews?" "Tell them the truth. Tell them the mission has changed. Tell them they signed up for this." Cole wanted to argue. He wanted to say that nobody signed up to die in a rice paddy in China with a bullet in the back of their head from a Japanese patrol. But he did not say anything. He just nodded. Doolittle walked to the center of the flight deck. The wind was howling. The deck was wet. Water was sloshing across the non-skid surface. All 16 bomber crews gathered around him. 80 men. Most of them were in their early 20s. Some of them looked terrified. Some of them looked angry. All of them knew something was wrong. Doolittle raised his voice over the wind. "Listen up. We have been spotted by a Japanese patrol vessel. The enemy knows we are here. That means we launch now, not at dawn. Now." The launch point is now 850 miles from Tokyo. That is 400 miles farther than planned, someone shouted from the back. "What does that mean for fuel?" Doolittle did not sugarcoat it. "It means some of you will not reach the Chinese airfields. It means you will have to bail out over occupied territory. It means you will be on your own. If you get captured by the Japanese, they will not treat you as prisoners of war. They will treat you as war criminals. You know what that means." Nobody spoke. Everyone knew what that meant. Torture, execution, no trial, no mercy. Doolittle continued. "If anyone wants out, say so now. No shame in it. No questions asked. You can stay on the carrier and go home." Cole watched the faces of the men around him. Some of them were pale. Some of them had tears in their eyes. None of them stepped forward. None of them quit. Doolittle waited 10 seconds. Then he nodded. "All right. Pre-flight checks start now. First aircraft launches at 800 hours. That gives you 4.5 hours to say your prayers." The crews dispersed. Cole walked back to aircraft number 1. His hands were still shaking. He was Doolittle's co-pilot. That meant he would be in the lead bomber. The first plane to take off. The first plane over Tokyo. The first plane to run out of fuel if anything went wrong. He climbed into the cockpit and sat down in the co-pilot seat. The instrument panel glowed faintly in the darkness. Altimeter, airspeed indicator, fuel gauges, compass. Everything looked normal. Everything looked fine. But nothing was fine. Lieutenant Ted Lawson climbed up onto the wing of his own bomber, parked next to aircraft number 1. He looked over at Cole. "Hey, Dick, you think we are actually going to survive this?" Cole did not know how to answer that question. "Honestly, I do not know. The math does not look good." Lawson laughed. It was not a happy laugh. It was the laugh of a man who has accepted his own death. "Yeah, the math never looks good, does it?" Cole pulled out a piece of paper and a pencil from his flight jacket. He started writing. It was a letter to his mother. He did not know if she would ever read it. He did not know if he would survive long enough to mail it. But he wrote it anyway because it was the only thing he could control. "Dear Mom, if you are reading this, it means I did not make it home. I want you to know that I was not scared. That is a lie. I was terrified. But I did my job. I hope that counts for something. I love you. Dick." He folded the letter and put it in his jacket pocket. Then he started the pre-flight checklist. He went through every switch, every gauge, every control surface. He checked the fuel tanks. He checked the bomb load. He checked the engines. Everything was perfect. Everything was ready. He just did not know if it would be enough. 4 hours passed. The sun started to rise over the eastern horizon. The ocean was gray and choppy. The wind had not died down. If anything, it was getting worse. The carrier was still pitching violently. Water was spraying over the bow with every wave. At 07:45 hours, Doolittle climbed into the pilot seat of aircraft number 1. He did not say anything. He just started flipping switches. Cole was already strapped into the co-pilot seat. He had been sitting there for 30 minutes, running through the emergency procedures in his head. Engine fire, hydraulic failure, control surface damage, fuel starvation. He knew all the procedures. He had practiced them 1,000 times. He just hoped he would not have to use any of them. Doolittle started engine number 1. The right cyclone engine coughed twice and roared to life. The propeller spun into a blur. Then engine number 2. Both engines were running. The aircraft was shaking. The noise was deafening. A Navy flight deck officer stood at the bow of the carrier. He was holding 2 signal flags. His job was simple. Watch the waves. When the carrier pitched upward, drop the flags. That was the signal. Full throttle. Release brakes. Go. Cole looked out the side window. The edge of the flight deck was 70 feet away. The B-25 had a wingspan of 67 feet. That left 18 inches of clearance on each side. If the aircraft drifted even slightly during takeoff, the wingtip would hit the carrier superstructure. If that happened, the plane would cartwheel into the ocean at 60 miles per hour. Nobody would survive. Doolittle pushed both throttles forward. The engines screamed. The aircraft strained against the wheel brakes. The deck officer was watching the waves, waiting. The carrier pitched downward, then upward. The bow lifted toward the sky. The deck officer dropped the flags. Doolittle released the brakes. Aircraft number 1 lurched forward. The wheels rolled across the wet deck. The speed built quickly, 30 miles per hour, 40, 50. The end of the flight deck was rushing toward them. Cole could see the ocean beyond the bow. Cold, gray, waiting. 60 miles per hour. The aircraft was not lifting. The nose was still down. They were running out of deck. 200 feet left. 150 feet. 100 feet. "Come on," Cole whispered. "Come on, come on, come on." Doolittle pulled back on the control yoke. The nose lifted. The main landing gear left the deck. For one terrible second, the aircraft hung in the air, neither climbing nor falling. The engines were screaming at maximum power. The propellers were clawing at the air. Then the aircraft dropped. The nose pitched downward. They were falling toward the ocean. 50 feet, 40 feet, 30 feet. The water was right there. Cole could see the whitecaps. This is it. This is how I die. Doolittle did not panic. He pushed the control yoke forward slightly, trading altitude for airspeed. The aircraft stopped falling. The nose leveled out. The engines bit into the air. They were climbing, slowly, 50 feet above the ocean, then 75 feet, then 100 feet. They were airborne. Cole exhaled. His hands were gripping the armrests so tightly his knuckles were white. He looked over at Doolittle. Doolittle's face was blank. No emotion, no relief, just concentration. 15 more bombers had to do the same thing. 15 more crews had to roll down that deck and hope they did not die. Cole watched through the side window as aircraft number 2 started its takeoff roll. He held his breath. The bomber accelerated. It reached the end of the deck. It dropped. For a moment, it disappeared below the level of the flight deck. Then it climbed back into view. Airborne. Alive. One by one, all 16 bombers took off. None of them crashed. None of them failed. They formed up in loose formation and turned west toward Japan, toward Tokyo, toward a mission that nobody thought was possible. Cole looked down at the ocean below. It was 650 miles to the target. It was 1,100 miles from the target to the Chinese airfields, 1,800 miles total. They had fuel for maybe 1,900 miles if everything went perfectly. That meant no combat maneuvering, no evasive action, no mistakes. He thought about the letter in his jacket pocket, the letter to his mother. He wondered if he would ever get to tear it up. He wondered if she would understand why he did this. He wondered if any of this would matter. Doolittle broke the silence. Set course 270 degrees. Maintain 500 feet altitude. Radio silence from here on out. Cole adjusted the compass heading. 270 degrees. Due west, toward the rising sun, toward an empire that did not know they were coming. Not yet. 650 miles to Tokyo. 4 hours and 30 minutes of flight time. Cole sat in the co-pilot seat watching the fuel gauges drop. The needles moved slowly, but they never stopped moving. Every gallon burned was 1 less gallon for the return trip. 1 less mile of safety margin, 1 less chance of survival. Doolittle had not spoken in 2 hours. He was focused on the instruments, checking, rechecking, calculating fuel consumption rates against distance remaining. Cole knew what the numbers said. They said half the bombers would not make it to the Chinese airfields. They said some crews would bail out over Japanese-controlled territory. They said some men would die tonight. At 11:30 hours, land appeared on the horizon, a dark smudge against the gray sky. Japan, the home islands. Cole felt his heart rate increase. This was it, the point of no return. They were committed now. The ocean below was full of fishing boats, small wooden vessels with single masts, Japanese fishermen hauling nets. Some of them looked up as the bombers passed overhead. Some waved. They thought the aircraft were Japanese. The markings looked similar from a distance. By the time they realized their mistake, the bombers would be gone. Doolittle descended to 200 feet. The aircraft skimmed the wave tops. Salt spray hit the windscreen. This was hedge hopping, flying so low that radar could not track them, flying so low that one mistake, one moment of lost concentration would send them straight into the ocean at 230 miles per hour. The Japanese coastline appeared ahead. Green hills, rice paddies terraced into the hillsides, small villages with tile roofs. It looked peaceful. It looked untouched. Cole thought about Pearl Harbor. He thought about the Arizona sinking with over 1,000 men trapped inside. He thought about the photographs of burning ships and bodies floating in oil slicks. Japan started this war. Japan attacked first. This was payback. but the thought felt hollow. It felt like something he was supposed to believe rather than something he actually felt. Doolittle climbed to 1,200 feet as they crossed the coast. The target was 60 miles inland. Tokyo, the capital, industrial district, factories. The briefing had been clear: hit military targets only, avoid residential areas, minimize civilian casualties. This was a precision strike, not a terror bombing. Tokyo appeared ahead like a sprawling gray mass. The city stretched for miles in every direction, wooden houses packed together, narrow streets, factories with tall smokestacks belching black smoke. Cole had never seen a city this size. 3 million people lived down there. 3 million people who had no idea what was about to happen. It was 12:15 hours local time. Lunchtime. The streets were full. Office workers, factory workers, mothers with children. Nobody was looking up. Nobody expected American bombers. Japan had never been attacked. The war was somewhere else. In China. In the Philippines. In the Pacific. Not here. Not in the heart of the empire. Doolittle armed the bombs. Cole heard the click of the arming switches. 4 500-pound-high explosive bombs. 1 cluster of incendiaries. 2,000 pounds of death waiting to fall. The bombardier in the nose called over the intercom. Target in sight. Industrial complex. 3 buildings. Lining up for bomb run. Cole looked down through the side window. The factory was there. Large buildings. Smokestacks. Rail lines leading to loading docks. Exactly as briefed. A legitimate military target. Then he saw the school. It was right next to the factory. Maybe 200 feet away. A 2-story wooden building with a small courtyard. Children were outside. He could see them. Little figures in dark blue uniforms. Playing, running, chasing each other. There must have been 50 of them. Maybe more. Cole's breath caught in his throat. "Sir, there are children down there." Doolittle did not look away from the bomb site. "I see them. We are too close. The blast radius—" "We have our orders, Lieutenant. But, sir, if we drop now—" "Drop the bombs." Cole felt his hands tighten on the armrests. This was wrong. This was not what they briefed. This was not precision. This was murder. The bombardier's voice came through the intercom. "Release point in 10 seconds." Cole looked down. The children were still playing. One of them kicked a ball. Another chased it. They had no idea, no concept that death was falling toward them at terminal velocity. 5 seconds. Cole wanted to say something. He wanted to scream. He wanted to grab the controls and pull up, but he did nothing. He just sat there, frozen, bombs away. The aircraft lurched upward as 2,000 pounds of ordnance dropped from the bomb bay. Cole watched through the side window. The bombs fell in a tight cluster, spinning, falling. The factory rushed up to meet them. Impact. The first bomb hit the center building. The explosion was massive. A fireball erupted from the structure. The roof disintegrated. Walls collapsed. The second bomb hit the warehouse next to it. Another explosion. Bigger. Fuel storage. The entire building vanished in a sheet of flame. The third bomb hit the rail yard. Steel twisted. Boxcars lifted into the air and tumbled end over end. The fourth bomb landed 50 feet from the school. The blast wave hit the building like a sledgehammer. The walls buckled. The roof lifted. Windows exploded outward in a shower of glass. Children were thrown through the air. Cole saw one small body hit the courtyard wall and crumple. Another was lifted off the ground and disappeared into the smoke. The incendiary cluster spread fire across everything: the factory, the warehouse, the school. Within seconds, the entire area was burning. Black smoke rose into the sky. Cole could smell it even through the closed cockpit. Burning wood, burning fuel, burning flesh. He turned away from the window. His stomach was churning. He tasted bile in the back of his throat. Doolittle pushed the throttles forward. The engines roared. The aircraft climbed. Get out fast. Anti-aircraft fire started. Black puffs of smoke appeared around them. The Japanese gunners were reacting. Shells exploded to the left, to the right, above. One shell passed 10 feet in front of the cockpit. Cole saw it, a black streak moving so fast it was almost invisible. If it had hit, they would have been vaporized. No warning, no pain, just gone. He looked down through the canopy. The school was completely engulfed in flames. He could not see any movement, no children running, no teachers trying to evacuate, just fire, just smoke, just death. How many? How many children had been in that courtyard? 50? 60? How many were dead now? How many were burning alive? How many would live long enough to feel pain before the smoke took them? Cole closed his eyes. He tried to push the image away. He tried to tell himself this was war. This was necessary. Japan started it. Japan attacked Pearl Harbor. Japan was the enemy. But it did not help. Those children did not attack Pearl Harbor. Those children did not start this war. Those children were just playing in a courtyard. And now they were dead. Because of him. Because he did nothing. Because he followed orders. Doolittle set course west, heading 270 degrees. China, 1,100 miles. They had maybe 1,200 miles of fuel left. Maybe, if they were lucky, if the headwinds did not get worse, if they did not have to maneuver, if everything went perfectly. Cole watched the fuel gauges. The needles were dropping faster now. They had burned extra fuel during the climb. Every foot of altitude cost fuel. Every mile flown cost fuel. The margin was gone. They would not make it to the airfields. They would have to bail out somewhere over the mountains. At night, with no navigation, with no radio contact. Behind them, Tokyo was chaos. People were running in every direction. Fire trucks screamed through the streets. Air raid sirens wailed. The other 15 bombers were hitting their targets. More explosions. More fires. The entire city was waking up to the realization that they had been attacked, that the war had come home, that they were not invincible. But Cole was not thinking about that. He was thinking about the school. He was thinking about the children. He was thinking about the fact that he would carry this for the rest of his life. However long that was. 2 hours passed. The ocean below was empty. No land, no ships, just gray water. The fuel gauges continued to drop, faster than calculated. They were burning fuel at a higher rate because of the climb, because of the headwinds, because nothing ever went according to plan. At 15:30 hours, Doolittle spoke for the first time since leaving Tokyo. "We are not going to make it to the airfields." Cole already knew. The math did not lie. They might make it to the Chinese coast. They would not make it to the interior. How long do we have? Maybe 2 hours. Maybe less. Cole thought about the letter in his jacket pocket. The letter to his mother. She was going to read it. He was not going home. Not today. Maybe not ever. The coastline of China appeared ahead in the fading light. Mountains, dark, endless. They were going down somewhere in those mountains. The only question was whether they would survive. Doolittle turned on the radio. He broke radio silence for the first time since taking off. "This is Aircraft 1 calling any Chinese station. We are American bombers. We need directions to nearest friendly airfield. Please respond." Static, nothing but static. He tried again, and again. Nobody answered. Either they could not hear, or they did not understand, or they did not believe. 10 minutes of fuel left, maybe 15. Doolittle made the decision. Prepare to abandon aircraft. Cole unbuckled his harness. His hands were shaking. He told himself it was from the cold. The temperature at 5,000 feet was near freezing. But it was not the cold. It was fear. It was knowing that in 5 minutes he would jump into darkness and hope he did not die. The crew moved to the exit hatch. The bombardier, the navigator, the gunner. 5 men. 1 aircraft. About to jump into the night over enemy territory. Doolittle set the autopilot, heading 270 degrees. The aircraft would fly straight until the fuel ran out, Then it would crash. Nobody would ever find it. One by one, the crew moved to the hatch. The wind was howling through the opening. The ground below was invisible. Just darkness. Cole was last. He stood at the edge of the hatch. His legs would not move. He tried to step forward. He could not. His body was refusing to cooperate. This was insane. This was suicide. He was about to jump into pitch darkness with no idea what was below. Rocks, trees, water. He would not know until he hit. Someone pushed him. He fell backward out of the aircraft. The slipstream grabbed him and spun him like a top. The aircraft disappeared. The sound of the engines faded. He was tumbling, falling. The wind was tearing at his flight suit. He could not breathe. He could not think. He just kept falling. Pull the ripcord. Pull the ripcord. Pull the ripcord. He fumbled for the handle. Found it. Pulled. Nothing happened. Panic hit him like ice water. The parachute did not deploy. It was stuck. It was tangled. He was going to hit the ground at terminal velocity. He was going to die. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. Then the parachute opened with a violent jerk. The harness dug into his shoulders and groin. Pain shot through his body. But he was slowing. He was no longer falling. He was drifting. The ground rushed up. He could not see it, but he could feel it. Getting closer. Getting closer. He braced for impact. He hit hard. His legs buckled. His right ankle twisted. Pain exploded up his leg. He rolled onto his side and lay there, gasping. His ears were ringing. His ankle was throbbing. But he was alive. He sat up slowly, looked around. Trees, rocks, hills. He had no idea where he was. He had no map, no compass, no food, no weapon except a pistol with 15 rounds. He was alone in enemy territory with a sprained ankle, and the memory of 50 dead children burned into his mind. This was going to be a long night. Cole woke to the sound of voices. His eyes snapped open. Darkness, trees, stars. His ankle was screaming. How long had he been unconscious? Minutes? Hours? He had no way to know. The voices were close, very close, maybe 50 feet away, men talking, speaking Chinese or Japanese. He could not tell the difference. His heart hammered. He reached for his pistol, found it. 15 rounds. 15 rounds against how many? 3 men? 5? 10? The voices grew louder. Footsteps, branches cracking. They were moving toward him. They were searching. They knew he was here. Cole tried to stand. His ankle gave out. He collapsed, bit down on his lip to keep from crying out. The pain was blinding. He could not run. He could not walk. He could barely move. This was it. This was where he died. In the mountains. Alone. After surviving the takeoff, the bombing run, the fuel starvation, the bailout. All of that, just to die here. Shot by a Japanese patrol or executed by Chinese collaborators. The footsteps stopped. Someone spoke. A question. Another voice answered. They were 20 feet away now. Maybe less. Cole raised the pistol. His hands were shaking. He aimed at the sound. If they found him, he would take as many as he could before they killed him. A flashlight beam cut through the darkness. Sweeping. Searching. The beam passed over the tree to his left, then the rock outcropping to his right. It was coming toward him. In 3 seconds, it would hit him. In 4 seconds, he would be dead. Cole took a breath, held it. His finger tightened on the trigger. The flashlight stopped, pointed at the ground. Someone spoke. A command. The footsteps started again, moving away. The voices faded. The light disappeared. Cole lay there for 5 full minutes, listening, waiting, making sure they were gone. His heart rate slowly returned to normal. His breathing steadied. He was alive. For now. He sat up, looked around. Dawn was coming. The sky was turning from black to dark blue. He needed to move. He needed to put distance between himself and this location. The patrol would come back. They would search more thoroughly. They would find him. He stood up. The pain in his ankle was worse than before. Much worse. He took one step. His leg buckled. He fell, caught himself on a tree, stood up again, tried again. This time he stayed upright. He could walk, barely. 3 hours later, he collapsed. He had covered maybe 2 miles, maybe less. His ankle was swollen to twice its normal size. Every step was agony. He could not continue. He needed rest. He needed water. He needed help. He heard something. Movement. Close. He pulled the pistol again, aimed at the sound, waited. A boy appeared through the bushes, 8 years old, maybe 9, wearing simple clothes, a tunic and pants. He was carrying a basket, picking berries. He looked up, saw Cole, saw the pistol. The boy froze. Cole's finger tightened on the trigger. His mind was racing. Was this a trap? Was the boy a scout for a Japanese patrol, or was he just a kid picking berries? The boy stared at the gun. He did not run. He did not cry out. He just stood there, looking at Cole with dark eyes that showed no fear, just curiosity. Cole kept the gun pointed at him. His hands were shaking. This was a child. This was an 8-year-old boy. He had already killed children, in Tokyo, in the schoolyard. He had watched them burn. He had watched them die. And now he was pointing a gun at another child. The boy spoke, one word, soft, questioning. Meguo? Cole did not lower the gun. Yes? American? The boy nodded, smiled, turned his head and called out. A man appeared, older, maybe 60, wearing a farmer's clothes, the boy's father. The man saw Cole, saw the pistol pointed at his son. His face went pale. Cole watched the man, waiting. If the man ran, that meant he was going to get help. Japanese help. Cole would have to shoot. He would have to shoot the father, maybe the boy too, to keep them from reporting his location. The man did not run. He raised his hand slowly, spoke. His voice was calm, gentle. He pointed at the pistol, then at himself, then at his son, made a lowering motion with his hands. Peace. Cole's finger was still on the trigger. This could be a trick. This could be a delay, keeping him here while others surrounded him. The man took a step forward, slowly, his hand still raised. He spoke again. One word Cole recognized. Meguo. He pointed at Cole, then at himself, then made a gesture. Hands together. Friend. Cole looked at the boy. The boy was still standing there, not afraid, not running, just waiting, trusting that his father would fix this. Cole suddenly saw it. The schoolyard, the explosion, the children, running, burning, dying, because he followed orders, because he did nothing, because he was too afraid to refuse. And now he was pointing a gun at an 8-year-old boy who had done nothing wrong, whose only crime was picking berries in the wrong place at the wrong time. Cole lowered the pistol. His hands were trembling. I almost shot a child. Again. The man let out a breath, lowered his hands, spoke to the boy. The boy ran off. The man approached Cole, knelt down, examined his ankle, shook his head, spoke. Cole did not understand the words, but he understood the meaning. You cannot walk on this. The boy returned with a woman, older, the man's wife. She carried a bag, herbs, bandages. She knelt next to Cole, started working on his ankle. The man helped Cole to his feet, supported him, led him down the hillside to a small hut. Inside it was dark, smoky, a cooking fire in the center. The woman made him sit, brought him water, food, rice, vegetables, a small piece of fish. Cole ate. He had not eaten in 24 hours. The food was simple, but it was enough. After the meal, the man spoke. He pointed outside, made a walking gesture, pointed west, held up fingers. 10 days walking, to safety, 10 days. Cole looked at his ankle. He could barely walk 10 steps. The man seemed to understand. He pointed at himself, then at Cole, made a walking gesture together. He would guide him. Cole felt something break inside. These people did not know him. They did not owe him anything. They were risking their lives. If the Japanese discovered they were helping an American pilot, they would be tortured, executed. Their village would be destroyed. But they were helping anyway. He tried to speak. His throat was tight. "Thank you." The man smiled, patted his shoulder, spoke one word in English. "Friend." Cole spent 2 days in the hut, resting, healing. The woman changed his bandages twice a day. The swelling went down. The pain decreased. On the morning of the 3rd day, the man woke him before dawn. Time to go. They walked west. The man knew the trails, the safe routes, the places to avoid. They moved slowly. Cole's ankle could not handle fast movement, but they made progress. By evening, they reached a larger village. The man led Cole to a building. Soldiers were there, Chinese nationalist forces. The man spoke to them, pointed at Cole. One of the soldiers approached. He spoke English. "You are American pilot? You bombed Tokyo?" "Yes." The soldier smiled. "You are hero. We take you to Chungking." Cole wanted to correct him. He was not a hero, but he said nothing. The man who had saved him was preparing to leave. Cole stopped him, tried to find words, tried to express what he felt. But there were no words. Just, "Thank you." It sounded pathless. It sounded empty. The man smiled, patted Cole's shoulder one last time, turned and walked away. Cole watched him disappear into the darkness. He would never see him again. He would never know if the man survived what was coming. A week later, Cole was in a nationalist barracks 200 miles inland, safe, fed, recovering. Other Doolittle Raiders were there, Lawson, Jones, Bramer, all rescued by Chinese civilians, all alive. A Chinese officer entered the barracks, dropped a newspaper on the table, pointed at the front page, spoke broken English, "Japanese revenge. Your mission. Many village die." Cole picked up the newspaper. The headline was in Chinese, but the photograph needed no translation. A burned village, bodies in the streets, men, women, children, all dead. The officer pointed at the photo. "Village help American pilot. Japanese find out. Kill everyone? Burn everything." Cole stared at the photograph. Something was familiar. One of the bodies in the foreground. An old man, wearing a simple tunic. The pattern? He recognized the pattern. The farmer. Maybe? He was not sure. The photo was grainy. The body was burned. But the cloth? The pattern? It looked the same. "How many villages?" Cole asked. The officer shook his head. "Many? 50? 100? Maybe more. Japanese very angry. Kill many people. 200,000. Maybe more. 200,000. Cole's mind could not process the number. It was too big, too incomprehensible. That was more than the population of Des Moines. That was more than the population of Salt Lake City. An entire city, wiped out, in retaliation, for helping American pilots. The officer left. Cole sat there holding the newspaper, staring at the photograph, at the burned village, at the bodies, at the old man who might have been the farmer who saved his life. That night, the Chinese soldiers invited Cole to eat with them in the mess hall, a gesture of friendship, of respect. Cole joined them. They were cheerful, celebratory. The Tokyo Raid had been a great victory, morale booster, strategic success. One soldier handed Cole a bowl of rice. Simple gesture. Kindness. Cole took it. His hands began to shake. He tried to steady them. Couldn't. The bowl slipped from his fingers. Fell. Hit the floor. Rice spilled everywhere. The conversation stopped. Everyone stared. Cole stared at the spilled rice. All he could see was the schoolyard, the explosion, the children, the burned village, the bodies, the farmer, the boy, 200,000 dead. "I am sorry," he whispered. "I am sorry." The soldiers looked confused. One of them bent down to clean up the rice. "It is okay," he said in broken English. "Accident." But Cole was not apologizing for dropping the bowl. He was apologizing for the school, for the village, for the 200,000, for all of it. The soldier did not understand. None of them did. They thought he was a hero. They thought he had won a great victory. They did not understand that victory had a price. They did not understand that the price was paid by people who had nothing to do with the war. Farmers, children, civilians who helped because it was the right thing to do. Cole stood up, walked back to his bunk, lay down, stared at the ceiling. He would carry this for the rest of his life, however long that was. The school, the village, the farmer, the boy. 200,000 ghosts. War was not clean. War was not heroic. War was children burning and farmers dying for helping strangers. War was dropping a bowl of rice and apologizing for everything. He closed his eyes, but he could not sleep. He would never sleep well again. May 18, 1942, Washington, D.C. The White House. Lieutenant Richard Cole stood in the hallway outside the Oval Office. His dress uniform was new, pressed, perfect. His hands were shaking. They had been shaking for a month, ever since China, ever since the newspaper photograph, ever since he learned about the 250,000. The citation was folded in his pocket. Medal of Honor, the nation's highest military honor. For 15 minutes over Tokyo. An aide opened the door. "The President will see you now." Cole followed him inside. The Oval Office was larger than he expected. President Franklin Roosevelt sat behind his desk, wheelchair visible nearby. The room was full. Photographers, reporters, military brass. General Doolittle was already there, promoted to brigadier general. 2 stars. He looked older, hollow, like he had not slept in weeks. Roosevelt smiled, gestured. "Sit, gentlemen." They sat. Cole's hands would not stop shaking. He gripped the armrests, tried to steady himself, failed. Roosevelt spoke. His voice was warm, confident, presidential. "Gentlemen, the nation owes you a debt of gratitude. Your raid on Tokyo came at our darkest hour. After Pearl Harbor, Americans needed to know we could strike back. You gave them that. You gave them hope. You changed the course of this war." Cole stared at his hands. Hope. 250,000 dead Chinese civilians. That was the exchange rate for hope. Roosevelt continued. "General Doolittle, you showed exceptional courage and leadership under impossible circumstances. For this, you will receive the Medal of Honor, along with promotions for your crew. You are all heroes." Doolittle spoke quietly. "Mr. President, we lost all 16 aircraft. We failed to reach our designated landing zones. 3 men were killed in crashes. 8 were captured by the Japanese. The mission was not a tactical success." Roosevelt waved dismissively. "Nonsense. The mission was a strategic triumph. We demonstrated that Japan is vulnerable in their home islands. We forced them to redeploy hundreds of fighters for homeland defense. Those fighters were not available at Midway. That contributed directly to our victory there. That is success, General." "But the Chinese civilians," Cole started, then stopped. The words dried up in his throat. Roosevelt looked at him. "Lieutenant Cole, is there something you wish to say?" Cole thought about the farmer, the boy, the burned village in the photograph, the old man's body, the 250,000 ghosts. "Yes, sir. The Japanese retaliated against the Chinese people who helped us. They destroyed entire villages, murdered families. Estimates say 250,000 civilians were killed." The room went quiet. Photographers stopped taking pictures. Reporters stopped writing. Everyone was staring at Cole. Roosevelt was silent for a long moment. Then he nodded. "Yes, Lieutenant, I am aware of the reprisals. It is tragic. It is horrifying. But war demands difficult choices. The Japanese chose to commit those atrocities. Not us. They pulled the triggers. They burned the villages. They bear the moral responsibility. Cole wanted to scream, wanted to say that cause and effect existed, that 250,000 people were dead because 80 Americans needed rescue. But he said nothing. What was the point? Roosevelt was technically correct. The Japanese murdered those people. But Cole dropped the bombs that started the chain. Where did responsibility begin? Where did it end? Roosevelt stood, the wheelchair clicking behind him. He moved slowly, carefully, a man carrying his own weight. "General Doolittle, please stand." Doolittle stood. Roosevelt pinned the Medal of Honor on his chest. Blue ribbon, 5-pointed star. The inscription barely visible. For conspicuous gallantry and intrepidity at the risk of life above and beyond the call of duty. Cameras flashed. Reporters scribbled. Doolittle stared straight ahead. His face was a mask, empty, hollow. "Lieutenant Cole, please stand." Cole stood. His legs felt weak. His hands were shaking worse now. He tried to control them. Could not. Roosevelt held the medal, the blue ribbon dangling, the star catching the light, the most prestigious military decoration in the United States. Thousands of soldiers had died hoping to earn this. Millions more would never receive it. Roosevelt stepped forward, reached up to pin the medal on Cole's chest. Cole's hands were shaking so violently he had to grip his pants to keep them still. The medal was heavy, heavier than he expected. Roosevelt secured the pin. The medal slipped. It fell from Cole's chest. The pin had not caught properly. The medal dropped, hit the marble floor. Clang! The sound echoed through the Oval Office like a gunshot. Metal on marble, sharp, final. Silence. Nobody moved. Nobody breathed. Photographers froze mid-shot. Reporters stared. Military officers looked at each other. Doolittle closed his eyes. Cole stared at the medal on the floor. Blue ribbon, star, lying there like it was worthless, like it meant nothing. All he could see was the schoolyard, the explosion, the children running, burning, dying, the farmer, the boy, the 250,000. Roosevelt spoke quietly, concerned. "Lieutenant?" Cole looked up, met the president's eyes. His voice came out as a whisper. "I killed children, sir." The room stopped breathing. Roosevelt stared at him. The concern in his eyes shifted. Confusion, then understanding, then something else. Sadness, or maybe pity. Doolittle stepped forward, bent down, picked up the medal. His hands were steady. He had practiced steadiness for 45 years. He pinned the medal on Cole's chest himself, secured it properly this time, did not say a word. Roosevelt cleared his throat. "Gentlemen, you have earned the gratitude of a nation. Wear these honors proudly. You represent the finest of American courage." The ceremony continued. More photographs, more handshakes, more congratulations. Cole went through the motions, smiled when expected, answered questions, played the role, the war hero, the patriot, the man who struck back at the empire. He felt nothing, just emptiness, just weight. That night, Cole returned to his hotel room. He sat on the bed, took off the medal, held it in his hands, the blue ribbon, the star, the inscription, for conspicuous gallantry. He set it on the nightstand, stared at it. 250,000 lives. That was the price. One medal for 250,000 deaths. The math did not balance. It never would. Someone knocked. Cole opened the door. Doolittle stood there, still in uniform. He looked worse than at the ceremony. "Sir?" Doolittle walked past him, sat in the chair by the window, spoke without looking at Cole. "I cannot sleep anymore. Every time I close my eyes, I see them. The villages, the bodies, the children. I keep doing the math. 250,000 dead. For what? We destroyed some factories, killed maybe 50 Japanese, damaged some buildings. And the price was 250,000 Chinese lives. You are not the only one who thinks about it." Doolittle laughed. It was not a happy sound. "No. Every raider I talk to says the same thing. We are being called heroes. We are receiving medals. The nation is celebrating. And all we can think about is the cost. The people who died because we needed help. Did we do the right thing, sir?" Doolittle was quiet for a long time. Finally, he shook his head. "I do not know how to answer that. Strategically, yes. The raid succeeded. We proved Japan was vulnerable. We forced them to redeploy resources. That contributed to Midway. Midway was the turning point of the Pacific War. Without the raid, maybe we lose Midway. Maybe we lose the war. So strategically, yes, we did the right thing. But morally? Morally, we killed 250,000 innocent people. Not directly. But the chain of causation is clear. We bombed Tokyo. We needed rescue. The Chinese helped us. The Japanese murdered them for it. Would those people be alive if we had not launched? Yes? Does that make us responsible? I do not know. I honestly do not know." Cole thought about the boy with the basket, the 8-year-old he almost shot. "I pointed a gun at a child in China. For 5 seconds I was going to pull the trigger. I thought he was bait. I was wrong. But I almost killed him anyway, just like I killed the children in Tokyo. But you did not kill the boy." "No, but I killed 50 children at that school. I followed orders. I did my job. And they burned." Doolittle stood, walked to the window. "War is not clean, Cole. War is not heroic. War is making impossible choices and living with the consequences. We bombed Tokyo because we were ordered to, because the nation needed a victory, because morale required it. We knew there would be collateral damage. We did not know about the reprisals. If we had known, would we have launched anyway? Yes. Roosevelt would have ordered it. We would have obeyed. The outcome would have been the same. Does that absolve us? No. It just means the guilt is shared. Roosevelt, Halsey, me, you, every raider. We are all responsible. We all carry it." Doolittle left. Cole lay on the bed, stared at the ceiling, thought about the medal on the nightstand, the symbol of courage, the reward for heroism, the price of glory. He did not sleep. June 15, 1942. Cole sat alone in a military briefing room, a classified file on the table, red stamp across the front. Top secret, eyes only. Execution summary. Doolittle Raiders, Lieutenant Dean E. Hallmark, age 23, navigator, captured April 18th near Poyang Lake, China. Court-martialed October 14, 1942, charged with indiscriminate bombing of civilian targets. Found guilty. Sentence, death by firing squad. Executed October 15, 1942, at 16:30 hours. 5 bullets, 3 to the chest, 2 to the head. Body displayed in courtyard for 72 hours as warning to local population. Buried in unmarked grave. Lieutenant William G. Farrow, age 24. Pilot, captured April 18th near Nanchang, China. Court-martialed October 14, 1942, charged with war crimes. Found guilty. Sentence, death by firing squad. Executed October 15, 1942, at 16:45 hours. Last words reported. Tell my mother I am sorry I could not write. Sergeant Harold A. Spatz, age 20, engineer gunner, captured April 18th. Court-martialed October 14th, 1942. Found guilty. Sentence, death by firing squad. Executed October 15th, 1942, at 1700 hours. No last words recorded. Body buried with Hallmark and Farrow in unmarked grave outside Kiangwon Military Prison. Lieutenant Robert J. Madere, age 25. Co-pilot, captured April 18th, imprisoned Bridge House Jail, Shanghai. Transferred to Kiangwon Prison, June 1943. Died in captivity December 1st, 1943, from dysentery, malnutrition, and physical abuse. Weight at death, 94 pounds. 4 raiders remain in Japanese custody. Current status, unknown. Cole closed the file. His hands were shaking again, always shaking now. Hallmark was 23 years old. Farrow was 24. Spatz was 20. Mater died at 25, weighing 94 pounds. Boys, kids. Dead because they volunteered, because they followed orders, because they wanted to serve their country. Cole ran to the latrine, vomited. Bile and nothing else. He had not eaten in 2 days. Pure luck. That was the only difference between him and them. He bailed out over friendly territory. They did not. He lived. They died. Pure random chance. He added 4 more names to the list of ghosts. Hallmark, Farrow, Spatz, Mater, the children in Tokyo, the farmer, the boy, the 250,000 Chinese civilians. The weight kept growing. Thanksgiving, 1955. Dayton, Ohio. Cole's house. Cole sat at the dinner table with his wife Margaret and their 2 children. Sally was 8, David was 6. A normal family, a normal holiday, turkey, stuffing, mashed potatoes, the American dream. Sally reached for the gravy boat. It slipped from her small hands. The glass container hit the hardwood floor. Crash. Glass exploding. The sound sharp and sudden. Cole hit the floor. Combat reflex. Instant. Uncontrollable. His body moved before his brain processed. He covered his head with his hands. Curled into a ball. Anti-aircraft fire. Bombs dropping. Tokyo burning. Silence. Sally stared at him, eyes wide. Terrified. David started crying. Margaret knelt beside Cole, put her hand on his shoulder. Gentle, calm. Honey, you're home, you're safe. It was just a glass. Cole was shaking. The room was spinning. His heart was hammering. He could smell smoke. Burning. Death. I am sorry. I am sorry, Sally whispered to Margaret. Why does Daddy do that? Margaret had no answer. How could she explain? How could she tell her 8-year-old daughter that Daddy saw dead children every time glass broke? That Daddy bombed Tokyo 13 years ago and never came home? That Daddy's body was here, but his mind was still there? In the schoolyard, in the fire, in the guilt. Cole stood up slowly, looked at his children. They were scared. Scared of him, their own father. He forced a smile. I am okay. Just startled me. Let's clean this up. But he was not okay. He would never be okay. March 12, 2018. Comfort Care Nursing Home, San Antonio, Texas. Richard Cole was 102 years old. The last surviving Doolittle Raider. The last witness. The last carrier of the weight. His body was failing. His mind was sharp. Too sharp. He still saw everything. Still remembered every detail. The takeoff, the bombing, the school, the children, the farmer, the 250,000. 76 years, and nothing had faded. His grandson Tommy came to visit. 12 years old. Good kid. Loved history. Loved his grandpa. Tommy was looking through the nightstand drawer. Found something. Pulled it out. Grandpa, what is this? Cole looked. The Medal of Honor. Blue ribbon faded after 76 years. Star still bright. Tommy held it like it was treasure. This is so cool. Is this yours? Why don't you wear it? Why don't you display it? Cole stared at the medal. He had not looked at it in years. Decades. It had stayed in that drawer since 1942, hidden, forgotten, but never gone. He spoke quietly. His voice was thin now, weak, because it cost too much. What do you mean? How much did it cost? 250,000 lives, Chinese farmers, women, children, people who helped me, people who saved my life. They were murdered because they helped American pilots. Tommy looked confused. But that is not your fault. You were a hero. You bombed Japan. Cole shook his head. Heroism and horror are the same thing, Tommy. Just depends who is telling the story. I bombed Tokyo. I killed children. I survived. Others died. Chinese people were slaughtered because of what we did. And I got this. He pointed at the medal. 1 piece of metal for 250,000 lives. The math does not balance. But you had to bomb Japan. Pearl Harbor? The war? Yes, we had to. That is what makes it impossible. We did the right thing strategically. We did a terrible thing morally. Both can be true. That is war. That is the price. And someone always pays. Usually it is not the people who made the choice. Tommy did not understand. He was 12. How could he understand? Cole spoke again, his voice barely a whisper now. Someday, Tommy, you will face a choice. A decision where doing the right thing means someone else suffers, where saving some people requires sacrificing others. When that day comes, you will understand. You will understand that every act of heroism leaves ghosts, and the ghosts never leave. Tommy put the medal back in the drawer, sat with his grandpa for another hour. They talked about other things, school, sports, normal things. When Tommy left, Cole sat alone in his room. He looked at the drawer, the medal hidden inside. He whispered to the empty room, "I am sorry. After 76 years, I am still sorry." April 9th, 2019, Richard Cole died peacefully in his sleep, 103 years old. The last Doolittle Raider, the last survivor, the last ghost carrier. His funeral was held at the Air Force Academy. Full military honors, flag-draped coffin, honor guard, 21-gun salute. Hundreds attended, veterans, family, dignitaries. The Medal of Honor was placed on his coffin. Blue ribbon, star, symbol of heroism. The eulogies called him a hero, a patriot, a warrior. They talked about the Tokyo Raid, the impossible mission, the turning point of the war. They celebrated his courage, his sacrifice, his service. Nobody mentioned the 250,000. Nobody talked about the Chinese civilians. Nobody discussed the children in the schoolyard. Nobody spoke about the farmer, the boy, the burned villages. Just the heroism, just the glory, just the victory. But Cole knew. Doolittle knew before he died in 1993. The 80 raiders who flew that mission knew, and the ghosts knew. That was enough. The medal was buried with him. Blue ribbon, star, inscription. For conspicuous gallantry and intrepidity at the risk of life above and beyond the call of duty. It did not mention the price. It never does. April 18th, 1992, Tokyo, Japan. 50 years after the raid. Fumiko Nakamura arrived at the memorial at 8 o'clock in the morning, like she did every year. 50 years of this ritual. 50 years of white chrysanthemums. 50 years of standing at a stone marker most people walked past without noticing. But this year was different. Someone was already there. An old American man, kneeling on the ground, white hair, trembling hands, crying, speaking English to the memorial stone, his voice breaking with every word. "I am sorry. I killed you. All of you. I am so sorry. I see your faces every night, every single night for 50 years. I am sorry." Fumiko froze. An American, here, at her memorial, speaking to her brother, to the children. An American voice where it had no right to be. Rage exploded through her chest. Hot, instant, uncontrollable. She walked forward. Her voice was sharp. Angry. "You have no right. This is Japanese memorial, not for tourists." The old man looked up. His face was wet with tears. His eyes were hollow, broken. He spoke in English. "I know, I am sorry. But I had to come." "Why? This not your place." The man stood slowly. His whole body was shaking, not just his hands. Everything, like he was holding himself together by force of will alone. "Because I come every year, when I visit Japan, every April 18th, for 50 years. Fumiko stared at him. "Every year? For 50 years? Why? You not Japanese. You not family." The old man looked at the memorial, at the names carved in stone. 47 children, 3 teachers. His voice came out as a whisper. "Because I did this." Silence. The words hung in the air. Fumiko's mind processed them slowly. American, old, crying. Every April 18th for 50 years. I did this. Horror spread across her face like ice water. Her breath caught. Her heart stopped. You? The man nodded. His tears were flowing freely now. Yes. My name is Richard Cole. I was the co-pilot. I was in the bomber. I dropped the bombs that killed them. I killed your people. I killed those children. I watched it happen from the air, and I have lived with it every single day since. Fumiko could not breathe, could not think, could not process. This man, this American, he was the one. He dropped the bombs. He killed her brother. He killed the children. He was standing here, right here, in front of her, after 50 years. Something inside her broke. She screamed, a primal sound, 50 years of grief erupting all at once. She switched to broken English because Japanese was not enough. The rage needed words he could understand. You? You kill my brother? She hit him, fists pounding his chest. He did not defend himself, did not raise his hands, just stood there, taking it, absorbing her rage like he had been waiting for it, like he deserved it. My brother, 26 years old. Good man. Teacher. He helped children. You kill him. Hitting, crying, screaming, switching between Japanese and English, the words pouring out. 50 years of carrying her brother's death. 50 years of coming to this memorial. 50 years of wondering what kind of monster could bomb children. And now that monster was standing in front of her, old, broken, crying. You destroy everything, my family, my life. 50 years I carry this, 50 years. Cole stood like a statue, tears streaming down his face. His voice was steady, quiet. I know, I am sorry. I know it does not change anything. I know sorry is not enough. But I am sorry. I have been sorry every day for 50 years. Sorry not bring back. Sorry not fix nothing. I know. Why you come here? Why you torture me? Because I am dying. Cancer. Maybe 4 months left. I needed to come here one more time. I needed to face what I did. I needed to tell them I am sorry. Even if they cannot hear me. Even if it is too late. I needed to say it. Fumiko collapsed against him. Her legs gave out. She was sobbing now. Deep, wrenching sobs that came from somewhere she had buried 50 years ago. Cole did not move, did not put his arms around her, just stood there, a monument to guilt, letting her cry, letting her break. Because this was his penance. This was what he came for. They stood like that for 5 minutes. 10. Fumiko sobbing. Cole silent. Two broken people connected by one moment 50 years ago when bombs fell and children burned and everything changed. Finally, Fumiko pulled away. She looked at him, really looked at him. He was old, dying. His hands shook constantly. His eyes were haunted, empty, like he had not slept in 50 years, like he had been carrying ghosts the entire time. "My brother," she said quietly. Her English was broken but clear. He was teacher. Meiji No. 3 school, 26 years old. He try save children when bomb come. He die with them. I was 30, walking to market. I hear explosion. I see smoke. I run. I see fire. I see children burning. My brother burning. I never forget. Never. Cole's face crumpled. What was his name? Takeshi. Takeshi Nakamura. Cole repeated it. Takeshi Nakamura. He closed his eyes. I am sorry, Takeshi. I am so sorry. They sat down on the bench near the memorial. Neither spoke for a long time. Finally, Fumiko broke the silence. Why you drop bomb? You know children there? We were aiming for the factory. We had orders to hit industrial targets only. But the school was right next to it, maybe 200 feet away. We were flying too low. The bombs fell too close. When they hit, the school was in the blast radius. I saw it happen. I saw the building collapse. I saw the fire spread. I watched children die, and I could not do anything. It was already done. You follow orders. Yes. But that does not absolve me. I dropped the bombs. I watched them fall. I killed children. Following orders does not change that. It just means the guilt is shared. My commander, the president, me, we all carry it. But I carry it most. Because I was there. Because I saw it. Because I lived when they died. Fumiko was quiet. Then she spoke. Japanese government say you war criminal. Say you bomb civilians on purpose. Say you are monster. We were not trying to kill civilians. But we did. Intention does not matter when children are dead. The outcome is the same. Monster or soldier or victim of circumstance. It does not matter. The children are still dead. You carry them 50 years? Every day, every night. I see them, running, burning, dying. I got medals. They called me a hero. I could not wear them. How could I? How could I accept praise for killing children? So I hid them. I married, had children, tried to live. But I was never alive again. Not really. Part of me died that day too. The part that could feel anything except guilt. Fumiko looked at him. This broken old American man who flew across the world every year to kneel at a memorial and beg forgiveness from ghosts. She thought she would hate him. She had imagined this moment for 50 years, meeting the men who dropped the bombs. What she would say, what she would do. She thought she would scream, would rage, would want them dead. But looking at him now, she felt something else. Not forgiveness. She could never forgive. That was not hers to give. Only the children could forgive. Only Takeshi. And they were gone. But she felt understanding. Understanding that war created victims on all sides. Some died, some lived. But everyone carried it. This man carried her brother, carried the children, just like she did, for 50 years. An American and a Japanese, both carrying the same ghosts. I hate you, she said quietly. Part of me hate you for 50 years. When I think about bomb, when I think about my brother. I hate American, I hate pilots, I hate everyone who do this. I understand. But she struggled to find words. But I also see you. You not celebrate. You not forget. You come here. You cry. You carry guilt 50 years. Many soldiers not do that. Many soldiers say, it just war, just job, just orders. You do not say that. You remember? You carry them. That means something. It feels like nothing. Like I am doing the bare minimum. Remembering them does not bring them back. Saying sorry does not fix anything. It is just words. Words are not nothing. Fumiko looked at the memorial, at her brother's name. You live with ghosts 50 years. You fly across ocean to say sorry. You die with guilt. That is punishment. That is what you pay. Some people never pay. You pay every day. Is it enough? No, never enough. Nothing ever enough when children die. But, she paused. But maybe it all anyone can do. Carry them. Remember them. Not forget. Make sure they matter. Make sure their death not meaningless. They sat in silence. Two old people. Two nations. Two sides of the same tragedy. The sun rose higher. Other people walked past. Nobody paid attention to the old American and the old Japanese woman sitting at a forgotten memorial. Finally, Cole stood. He placed white roses at the base of the memorial. I should go. Thank you for talking to me. For not. He could not finish the sentence. Fumiko stood too. She placed her chrysanthemums next to his roses. White and white, America and Japan. Same color, same grief. What's your name again? Richard Cole. Richard, she said it slowly, her English making it sound different. Richard. I am Fumiko. Thank you, Fumiko. You come back next year? Cole shook his head. No, I will be dead by then. This is my last time. Then, she struggled with English. Then you rest now. 50 years is enough. You carry them long time. Now you rest. Can the dead rest when they died by your hand? Fumiko thought about this. Then she spoke. I think children forgive you already. Children forgive fast. Is adults who hold hate. Children just want be remembered. You remember them. That is enough for them. Maybe not enough for you, but enough for them. Cole's tears started again. I hope you are right. I am right. I talked to them 50 years. I know what they want. They want be remembered. They want matter. You make them matter. You carry them whole life. That is gift. Sad gift. But gift? Cole nodded. He turned to leave, then stopped, turned back. I am sorry, Fumiko. I am sorry about your brother. I am sorry about everything. I know. Now go. Rest. You earn rest. He walked away, slow, bent, a dying old man carrying 50 years of ghosts. Fumiko watched him disappear into the crowd. She would never see him again. He would be dead in months, the last living connection to that day, the last person who could say I was there. I did it. I am sorry. That night, Fumiko sat alone in her apartment. She could not sleep. She never could on April 18th. She stared at her brother's photograph on the wall, 26 years old, smiling, before the war, before the bombs, before everything ended. She whispered to the photo, American pilot came today. The photo was silent. He said sorry. He cried, his hands shaking. He dying. Cancer. 4 months. He carried you 50 years. Same as me. Silence. Is that enough? His sorry? No answer. Would never be answer. Her brother was dead. The children were dead. Sorry did not bring them back. Understanding did not fix anything. Forgiveness was impossible. But maybe carrying them mattered. Maybe remembering them mattered. Maybe making sure they were not forgotten was all anyone could do. American or Japanese, soldier or civilian, killer or victim. Everybody carried ghosts. That was war's true legacy. She touched the photo glass. He said he see you every night, every day for 50 years. He came across ocean to say sorry to you, to tell you he never forgot. Tears fell on the glass. I do not know if I forgive him. I do not know if I hate him. I just know we both carry you, American and Japanese. Does not matter. You dead either way. She set the photo down, lay on her bed, stared at the ceiling. Tomorrow she would go to work. Next year she would return to the memorial. She would place flowers. She would remember. She would carry her brother, just like she had for 50 years, just like she would until she died. That was all she could do. Remember, carry, honor, until the weight was finally set down, until the living joined the dead, until the ghosts found peace, if peace was even possible. The next morning, April 19th, Fumiko returned to the memorial. She did not know why. She just needed to. Richard Cole's white roses were still there, wilting in the morning sun, next to her white chrysanthemums. She knelt, touched the roses gently. 50 years we both carry you, she whispered to the memorial. He came. He said sorry. He cried. I do not know if that matters. But he remembered. He never forgot. She stood, looked at the names carved in stone. Takeshi Nakamura. 47 children, 3 teachers, 50 people who died in 15 minutes on April 18th, 1942. Ghosts do not care about flags, she said. Dead children do not care who drop bombs. They just gone. But we remember. American remember. Japanese remember. That is all dead deserve. To matter, to be carried, to not be forgotten. She walked away, did not look back. If she looked back, she would break. And she needed to stay strong. For however many years she had left, someone had to carry them. American carried them. Japanese carried them. Did not matter who. Just mattered. They were carried. That was the price of survival. That was the weight of war. That was the only redemption possible when children died and nothing could bring them back. Remember, carry, honor, until death released them all. Lieutenant Richard Cole received the Medal of Honor for bombing Tokyo in 1942. 50 years later, he returned to Japan, knelt at a memorial, and said, "Forgive me. I killed you." A woman whose brother died in the raid hit him. then cried, then said, "We've both carried them for 50 years." This isn't a story about heroes. It's about the price of war nobody talks about.